Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh, and a very good morning to Mr. Chairperson and the rest of participants of today's conference. My name is Anwar Faham Muhammad Marzani, and on behalf of my team, I'm going to be presenting research entitled Evaluating the Effectiveness of the Tail Tweaking Tool in Enhancing Students' Narrative Writing. Okay, first of all, we're going to be looking into our research background. I'm going to highlight to you about the popularity of short written pieces that is strongly tied to the use in literacy and creative assessment. The rising of internet in microfiction also brings up a research questions about its narrative techniques, themes, structure, and its impact on the concept of storytelling and how readers engage with the narrative. A short story, basically a typical, comprises of 4 fundamental components: an initiating incident, rising action, a climax, and declining action. Unlike novel, which usually explore multiple themes and storyline, short stories is actually a type of writing that tends to focus on a single aspect of a character's life, a specific issue, and a particular relationship. So in this particular context, writing a narrative writing is a complex process that requires mastering fundamental and a generic specific writing technique in addition to the ability of the writers to arrange and convey answers, experiences, and engaging in conclusion, whether it's genuine or imagined. So in this context, narrative writing is a crucial aspect of creative writing, as a process of crafting a story demands sophisticated cognitive and imaginative ability. Given this particular complexity, effective learning tool is actually necessary to teach students on how to write stories efficiently. As far as there is a growing importance or crucial needs of engaging students in narrative writing, however, several problems and issues arises. First of all, several scholars dictated that narrative writing is actually a skill that needs both creativity and technical skill, making this is actually a mentally demanding task for all of the students. Some other researchers also believe that in order for the students to coming up with the ideas of building a storyline and keeping it coherent can be a hard for them without creative writing experiences. Researchers also believe that another issue that arises in the creative writing or narrative writing process is that students often feel anxious and uncomfortable with such tasks, which inadvertently lower their confidence and motivation. So despite the growing popularity of a microfiction and its role in modern writing, some other researchers pointed out a clear lack of structured technology-based tool to help students engage with narrative writing. This is a contrast with traditional classroom teaching, which often does not give any personalized support to the students to build confidence in their storytelling. So although some of these learning aids are available at that particular time, most of them do not offer any interactive and step-by-step method that's suited for the beginners in engaging them with narrative writing process. So as a researcher, our team has coming up to the forefront to build up a tail tweaking tool application, which is known as a mobile app developed using a Unity and C hashtag program language system. All right, this particular application is actually widely used in the game and app development due to its flexibility and cross-platform capabilities, which inadvertently allow one to build to run in Android, iOS, Windows, and more. The TTT was built based on the dig and carry instructional system design model, whereby it is actually being used to ensure that the learning content follows structured educational development. So for the user experiences, a Gutenberg diagram and just start principle will also apply to create an intuitive and visually appealing interference. So the main purpose of PTT is designed to engage students in University Technology Mara who are actually undergoing the diploma program in LCC 111 English course, whereby the TTT supports their narrative writing skill through interactive exercises embedded in this particular application. Into a more comprehensive manner of explanation, this TTT application is known as Mobile Assisted Language Learning, which encourages both guided and independent learning. It has come to the forefront to actually provide learners with several key features, including story connectors that help students to create sentences starters, tail weavers that also help students to actually arrange story sequences, and also the Grandmaster that helps students to engage with mastering with their writing skills. So despite of the development of PPT has been seen as a promising potential, however, its effectiveness as a teaching tool is still not clear. So we as a researcher come to the forefront to conduct a study which aims to evaluate how this TTT application affects student understanding of narrative writing. So by filling this gap, this research explores whether the TTT application can actually improve writing skill, reducing writing anxiety and increasing students' engagement in their creative writing process. So the result of this study will add to a wider discussions on integrating the use of technology and language learning and its role in helping students develop advanced writing skill. So this study will address two main research objectives, which has to be to identify if there are any differences in narrative writing test score between students who use TTT and students who did not use it, and to examine the role of TTT in enhancing the user understanding of narrative writing. Hence, to evaluate the effectiveness of tail tweaking tool application, the present study is being addressed under theoretical framework of technological acceptance model, where it addresses four main elements as shown in the slides. The present study adopted mixed method approach through experimental design, whereby the focus population is among the first semester's diploma students who enroll in LCC111 course at University Technology Mara who had access to the tail tweaking tool application. These particular students were segregated and chosen through purposive sampling, whereby the participants were divided into control group and experimental group who used the TTT, and this facilitated a thorough milestone pictures on how the effectiveness of tail tweaking tool application in engaging students with narrative writing. So at a present time, the researchers were able to collect data among 64 students of 64 diploma students at University Technology Mara, whereby it comprises of 31 of the male students and 33 of female students. So the data were collected through LCC11 narrative writing test question paper, and a semi-structured interview was employed to facilitate a thorough explanation on the effectiveness of tail tweaking tool. Data collected were analyzed through independent sample t-tests and also Levin tests for equality of variances, as well as the thematic analysis. Okay, now let's take a look on the finding of the study. Once the data was analyzed, this study shows that a huge significant difference between the test score of students who use TTT, which scored higher mean score, to those who did not use TTT, whereby the students who use TTT scored with a mean score of 6.53, and the students who did not use the TTT with the mean score of 5.97. This difference of negative 0.562 is a moderate but meaningful, showing that a moderate to a large practical impact of TTT and confidence interval that support the positive impact of TTT and engaging students with narrative writing. Hence, to extend a wider view on the effectiveness of tail tweaking tool, the present study also found that participant claims the tail tweaking tool helps them in several dimensions. First of all, participant narrated that tail tweaking tool helps them with the improvement in understanding narrative writing structure through structured writing process, story organization, and plot positioning. And there are also a particular participant who believe that tail tweaking tool provide them assisted in narrative writing ideas generation through brainstorming support, creative progress, a creative prompt, and as well as example-based scaffolding. However, some other participants who also believe that while tail tweaking tool provide them an enjoyable interface, however, some of the feedback limitation and as well task variety which involve them with repetitive exercise persist. These provide a room for the improvement for tail tweaking to application in the near future. So as a conclusion, the present study found that the tail tweaking to application effectively improves narrative writing skill in first semester diploma students. The integrations of TAM model in both quantitative and qualitative findings shows that the TTT helps students understand narrative structure, character development, and idea generation. The experimental group outperformed the control group, proving that the TTT educational value, as students also felt more motivated and confident to the use of tail tweaking tool application. So this study contributes in two main dimensions. First of all, in terms of pedagogical contribution, the present study introduces and validates the TTT as a mobile-based instructional tool designed specifically to support narrative writing skill among diploma level students. So by providing step-by-step, interactive, and gamified instruction, the TTT exemplify how digital tool can scaffold narrative construction, enhance idea generation, and foster self-directed learning in writing classroom. On top of that, since this particular study is based on the technology acceptance model, this study extends the CALM model into mobile assisted language learning context, highlighting how perceived usefulness and ease of use influence learner engagement and actual use in higher education system. So I think that is all for me as for now. Thank you everyone for giving me your time. Assalamualaikum.